medieval coins found in Ireland that throughout the Middle Ages. So as you can see, they've invented the entire history of Celtic Ireland, Gaelic Ireland, the Druids, everything. They've lied about everything, and we're finding these strange Arabic coins. But now let's go back to Geoffrey of Monmouth, yes, and the story of the king of Druid priests, Merlin. And we'll see how suspicious this story is and all these other things. So many people are saying that Geoffrey of Monmouth, he didn't exist. And they're saying he is Henry Blois, or something, the brother of the King of England, Stephen Blois, who was the King of England at the time. Yes, or that's the official history that they're claiming. There's no evidence that this king existed. So Henry of Blois, mysteriously, as you will notice, according to official history, yes, who was this man and what was his job? Yes, he had 2 jobs, and what were his jobs? Let's see. You could read this.
Henry of Blois, Bishop of Winchester, brother of King Stephen.
And he was also the abbot
of Glastonbury.
Glastonbury, did you say? Yeah, where they have the hill for the 19
yes
witches or maidens, or whichever one you want to call it. So he was the brother of King Stephen of England. Yes. So now when we study this official history of King Stephen, yes, now what do we find about King Stephen of England? In fact, you could read this.
Already I'm thinking like Stephen is one of those names. Everyone's king was called Stephen. Anyhow, Medieval Kings Part 1, even around the time.
Yeah, remember Stephen King and the land, they've gone to the land of 19. They're even pointing it out, nobody realizes. Yes, Stephen King and the land of I did that with Natiketa, but did you watch it and did you see?
Yes.
Stephen King, 19. Yes. Yeah, so you could read this.
Yes. So this is from Mercian Archaeological, Medieval Kings Part 1, The Normans. They chose instead to support Stephen of Blois, a grandson of William the Conqueror, as King of England. Stephen was King of England for 19 years.
Yes, and so as we noticed, the 19, yes, that you can't go beyond the 19 or the 33rd degree. Yes, it's explained in my books. So a bit more about the 19 apple trees were destroyed. They've gone to the land of 19, the 19 rings. Yes, so you could read this about Matilda and Stephen. Yes, what actually happened. Yes, Matilda.
Matilda was left as the king's only heir, and his death caused a civil war spanning 19 years between 1135 and 1154, known as the Anarchy.
Yeah, you could basically say the place was like the Middle East for 19 years. And they're saying that his brother, Henry, yes, used a fake name called Geoffrey to write the story of the 19, but it's all 19, 19, 19. As we saw with Saint Bridget, yes, and the 19. Yes, and the thing is, many people know this because the stories are connected, but they don't notice the numerology. Yes, and so you could read this. Yes.
Bridget and Saint Bride from White Dragon magazine. As 19 women tended Bride's fire, so in the Vita was Merlin fed by 19 apple trees.
So many people have noticed that the stories are similar, and they're saying, there's 19 here, there's 19 there. Yes, and so even today they're using the same numerology. Yes, and for example, like Balinor. They say that Balinor has no known meaning, but it was used in the television series Merlin from 2008 to 2012. Yes, where they said that Balinor was the father of Merlin and a former dragon lord. Yes, this is not supposed to be in the history, but it's been added on. And the thing is, but even in this television series and the development of this Balinor character, they've created him. What do we know about Balinor? Yes.
Balinor lived as a hermit for 19 years until he was visited by Arthur Pendragon and his long-lost son, Merlin, who informed him of their shared blood. But this is okay, but
Ah,
this is from
how many
already,
years?
yeah, no, but just to be clear,
Yes,
this is already from the wiki from the web series or from the TV series, right?
yes, but what I'm trying to point out is it's the same people.
Oh yeah, this now
This
I'm
is
seeing,
the
yeah, yeah,
new
also
world.
because it's 19 years again. Yeah, yeah, okay. Even though they added it on
Yeah,
in recently, yes. They're using the same
yeah,
people,
they've got
yes.
new workers. The workers are just doing the job. When we watch these things, many of us think a lot of it is from the historical documents. It's not even in the historical documents. Even the history is fake. None of it is true. There is no evidence that any of this 19 history is true. It all sounds like just a joke, just totally invented, just a total joke. So now let's come to England. Yes, and what we will find is that in England, not just in Ireland or in Scotland, but let's have a look at England. You could read about Button Stone Hill in England. Yes, have you received it?
No, not yet.
Button Stone Hill? I said, sorry about that. Yes, I thought it had gone through. Yes?
So, Buttern Hill or Throwley Stone Circle, there are 19 fallen stones, the longest being 6 feet 9 inches. And then it says from modern
How many fallen stones, Raphael?
19 fallen stones.
I see. So now we've got all these sites, yes, all over the world. And the thing is, it doesn't matter if it's in ancient Greece, they're going to say there was 19 of them, or ancient Egypt. And so the thing is, we've got this Button Stone Hill, circle, yes, which is in Dartmoor National Park, yeah, area. That's in England, you could call it near Cornwall, Devon, Cornwall, in that, not far from there in southwest England. So we've got these strange things there. What they're telling us, it's not just in Ireland. In Ireland, you saw, 19, and many observers have noticed that these circles they originally had 19, 19, 19. All these stones in Ireland. So now here is Whitemore Down. Yes, megalithic stones. You could read this.
Reconstructed in 1896 after being robbed by stonemasons, farmers, and turf cutters, it retains 18 of its original 19 stones.
Ah, so now what we're seeing is, just this 19 everywhere. They're telling us that these stone circles 19, but many people have not noticed. It's only a few people have noticed. Many people seem to think I'm just making this up. In the history documents, this, that, they've got some strange history. They're just telling us these stone circles, there's many of them. In fact, there's many of them. We'll go through them. Yes, that one's also in England. Here's another one in England. You could, in Scotland, this is. You could read the bottom paragraph.
Torhouse Stone Circle lies in the Bladnoch Valley. It is the best surviving monument in what was once clearly an important landscape during prehistory.
Yes, Celtic history. But let's examine Tor House, shall we? What do we find in Tor House?
The standing stones of Tor House are a stone circle of 19 granite boulders.
Oh, what was that, Raphael? How many is there?
19 granite boulders.
Apple trees, did you say? 19 apple trees?
No, here we have boulders of granite.
Ah, okay. Here it is in case anybody wants to go to Scotland. Scotland's a beautiful place. It's got great history, and the thing is, many people are obsessed with Scottish history. I mean, I was obsessed with Bonnie Prince Charlie and many other things. So when we look at this history, we just seem to believe all these things what we're told. And so the thing is, for example, it's like you can't check any of this history. Yes, to see if it was originally original or have they just placed these things there. But the common thing is, the apple trees, there's 19 of them. The Lord of the Rings, there's 19. 19 is the reason. Stephen King, they've gone to the land of 19. You see? And so let's have a look. Let's look at London during the Middle Ages. Yeah, this is during the Middle Ages. They modified the bridge around the 18th century. Now, please read it out and describe London Bridge to me, please.
The bridge was about 926 feet, 282 meters long, and had 19 piers linked by 19 arches and a wooden drawbridge.
How many piers? How many arches?
Both 19.
Ah, 19 piers and 19 arches. I see. So this 19 is very important. Yes, when we're looking at English history and other things, all these writers, everything, it doesn't matter if they wrote 1,000 years ago or now, Harry Potter, they're telling us the same story again and again and again. So Harry Potter, 19 years later, have you heard of the story? Harry Potter,
Ah,
19 years later. You know the story or you don't?
well, I know, I'm not sure how aware I was that it's 19 years, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, 19 years later, after the Battle of the Hogwarts. So the thing is, when people check through these things, it's like the thing is, they're using this. This is not a small thing. And so it's not a small thing. And nobody, I've not seen anybody tell you be careful with this number 19. Nobody. Yes, who says that there's 19 there, you're going to find it, and that's when you will know that these people are speaking the truth. Which document, historical document, tells you to beware of this 19 in a warning?
From what I know, only the Quran.
Yes. So that is why I turn on said the Quran, the very important historical document. It's got nothing to do with the religion, because as we can see, the falsified history, falsified literature, falsified historical sites, they falsified so much, and they're using this 19 in major historical data. And so back to London Bridge. Yes, London Bridge, it's built on 19 piers, 19 arches. I mean, this just sounds like a total pathetic joke to me. I don't know what else to say. What do you think of this history, English history now?
Seems as suspicious as most other histories.
Yes, and so around the time Merlin was written, and around the time that the Celts were still in Ireland and the Druids, yes, and so the thing is, many people have actually noticed London Bridge, and they called them the 19 mermaids, the 19 piers, as you can see. Yes, same like the 19 mermaids or 19 maids or 19 other
Right.
things. You see? So this is the thing. And then they're telling us we've got historical drawings, many centuries old, from the 16th century or even before, drawings of London to show this bridge that had the 19 mermaids, the 19 arches, the 19 piers. Can you believe this history or these arches. Can you believe any of it, Raphael?
Well, not without
Can you?
independent verification. It looks very much coded through. I mean, a bridge
Does
can
it
still
look
have
like very much coded?
it could still really
Or
have 19 piers, but yeah.
I'm talking about could it have been 19 apples, 19 years of civil
Oh,
war,
no, well, of course it's obvious.
19 tunnels, 19 graves, 19,
Yes, it's
when you
manufactured
start looking
history,
at
yes, sure.
our manufactured history. I like that sentence. So now talking about these maidens. Yes, and it's Cornwall. Remember Cornwall with the London Bridge because it's very important. Yes, because the London Bridge, they say they modified it. Yes, in the last 200 years from granite from Cornwall. This is very important. So now the stones called the Merry Maidens of Bowley. Yes, and they are in Cornwall. Many of these stones happen to be granite stones. That's very important. Yes, and the thing is, it looks like many people will think, oh, these people were very clever. Why in the hell would they use granite? You see, it looks like that people will say, ah, maybe they wanted to preserve it, it was important. But there is another reason to it, and why many of these are actually found on granite mining sites. People can check this as well. You could read this about the Merry Maidens, these stones in Cornwall.
The local myth about the creation of the stones suggests that 19 maidens were turned into stone as punishment for dancing on a Sunday.
What? This is actual history. They expect you to believe these things. Many people do. I mean, they make um, you could read it in the description, and please notice on the map where it is at the bottom of southwest Cornwall. But you could read the second paragraph, the circle.
The circle, which is thought to be complete, comprises 19 granite megaliths.
19 granite megaliths. I see. I see. So, the thing is, let's have a look at it. That one is called the Merry Maidens who got turned into stone. Let's have a look at this one. So now there's another circle. This one is called, what do they call this one? The Tragesal stone circle is known as what?
The 19 granite stones are also known as the dancing stones.
How many stones are they, did you say?
19 granite stones, once again.
Ah, 19 of them, and they're granite, and many people know that granite's strong and heavy. So, of course, you're going to think, how did they move them thousands of years ago?
Right.
In 3300 BC.
So basically, it's just a remnant of the mining site, and they said, oh, if we leave just a few stones here, we can make a lot of money in the future, even though we're not mining it
Yes,
anymore.
and they were mining granite in that region. Many people don't know. Yes, and from the granite, they shipped it to London also. Yes, and from Cornwall. But let's not just stop there. There's many of these circles. It's because the thing is, why would they always use the same mathematics? 19 apples, 19 rings. Stephen King in his novels, they've gone to the land of 19. So there is this one here. What's this stone circle called?
Boskednan stone circle.
Ah, yes. It sounds like a great name. Yes, I like that name. Many people are visiting these things, and they're aligned with ley lines and many other things. You must know this thing, yes? And people say that maybe it's
Right.
gravity or energy lines. People are guessing these things because they don't know. Yes, and the thing is, it's got something to do with 19. But how many stones is there here?
In Penwith, the stone circles typically have 19 stones.
Ah, so there's many of these stone circles, and how many do they have? How many stones did you say they typically have?
19, which could indicate a relationship with a 19-year solar and lunar cycle.
It could be that, or it could be to do with the 19 in the Kabbalah. Yes, to do with this, with the sun and the moon and the planets and the 12 star signs that actually make 19. So they're saying that 19 to actually make sure you don't study and check the other thing. So now the thing is, in case people are saying today, let's say, you could read this because many people are questioning. So you could read this. They want to put this 19 in your head. Yeah. So what do they say
Nine
here?
maidens of Boskednan stone circle. There is some uncertainty over how many stones originally stood at Boskednan. William Borlase, who first recorded the site in 1754, noted 19 stones.
Yes, and so now when you look at that, when we look at it today, let's look at September the 11th, or what we call 9/11. You could read this, and many people won't understand it unless if you understand numerology and other things, then you will begin to understand this. Yeah, you could read this.
But this stone circle does not have 9 stones. It never has. In fact, there are thought to have been 19 here. Only 11 now standing. Oh, great. Yeah.
Yes. So the thing is, there's that. Many people don't understand why, in many of them, why there's only 9 left or 7 left or 5. It's like once you understand the system of how these things work within the cube and circle or squaring the circle, then you'll begin to understand these things. And a lot of it is just universal science. Now you could read this, including the title.
Pendle witches. The trials of the Pendle witches in 1612 are among the most famous witch trials in English history and some of the best recorded of the 17th century. The 12 accused lived in the area surrounding Pendle Hill in Lancashire and were charged with the murders of 10 people by the use of witchcraft. All but 2 were tried at Lancaster Assizes on 18 to 19th August 1612, along with the Salisbury witches and others, in a series of trials that have become known as the Lancashire witch trials.
Yes? Carry on.
One was tried at York Assizes on 27th July 1612, and another died in prison. Of the 11 who went to trial, 9 women and 2 men, 10 were found guilty and executed by hanging. 1 was found not guilty.
If anybody understands how astrology works, the whole story sounds like a joke. Yes. So we have it's called the Pendle Witches trial, and then they say Salisbury witches, or the witches of Salem, Psalms or
Right.
Salams, Psalms or Salams or Psalms. Yes, in the Bible, and Psalm 911 is near the center of the heart of the Bible, and so there's these things. But as you noticed, there's there's it was on the 19th, and I forgot. The thing is on the rest of it. No, so there's 19. There's supposed to be. It makes a total of 19. I forgot, or have I not got this here? But I might have it on the next page. Let me just send it to you. Now, when we that's in the 17th century. Now, the witches of Salem in America was also in the 17th century. That they made 3 copies of this story. That again, what they say, that there was other witch trials that happened. They say a list of 20 were tried in Lancaster Assizes in 1634. Can you see it? But the story that you've just read out, they've turned around and said how many were tried. They were tried in 1612 in the Lancaster Assizes or whatever. Yes.
Right.
And so the thing is, they're saying 20, but many historical or historians have said that there was 19. In both cases, there were 19, and then the Salem, which is on yes, you'll see there was 19 also, and they were all in they were all in the 17th century. So now the strange thing is when you see, you could start from after Edmund Robinson and you will see White's 20 and not White's 19 and not 20.
I was actually
All but
expecting exactly this before even reading it. Yes.
yes,
All but one of the accused were found guilty, and therefore then we have 19 that are found
yes,
guilty. Yes.
yes. So there you can see, it's just a joke. Then there is also the thing is there is a mix up with the name. Yes. And so the thing is, they say that there's Janet Device. Yes, in the beginning, and the name Janet Device is supposed to be in both trials or something, and there's a mix up, blah, blah, blah. It goes on. People can study this in their own time, and then they'll find that the story is full of lies. In fact, yeah, just in case, there's some people who are not satisfied. There's the Pendle trial, the second one. Many people call it the Wheatley Lane trials, would be 1633, and then they say 19 witches in 1634. And they say that Janet Davis, the 20th one, was a witness in the 1612 trials. You see, 1612. So after an inquiry, it's a here it's I'm not sure what story it's talking about. It says they arrested 40 of them total. 19 were sentenced, and how many of them were acquitted after an inquiry?
After inquiry, all 19 were acquitted.
Yeah, God knows.
And Robinson later admitted that the story was a fabrication.
I see. So as you can see, we've got two stories which they're claiming from the 17th century. Yes, and one of them is called Salisbury's or Samsbury's, or like the Psalms. And then when we go to the other side of the world, they've made another story in the 17th century. Yes, and about the Salem witch trials. You know, this is in the United States, in Massachusetts, and how many people were there in the Salem witch
30,
trials?
30 people were found guilty, and that's a completely different number. However, 19 of whom were executed by hanging, 14 women and 5 men.
How many were executed by hanging? Just want to make that clear.
19 were executed by hanging.
So now the thing is, they're showing us these historical newspapers from that time, or journals, if not newspapers, and pictures, and they're showing us this is real history. It's from that time. They'll show you from England in the 17th century and over there. Can you believe this history? Is it believable?
No.
It's just a total joke. It's totally unbelievable. It's almost like we've got no history whatsoever. So now, when we talk about Gandalf in Tolkien, and they're trying to show that he was like a groove. So in the old days, as you could see, you said, "Who are these druids in white clothes?" Who are they? They are the reformed druids, or modern druid associations like the modern Knights Templar. So the thing is, they all know. How long did it take to become a druid?
19 years.
Yes. So the thing is, it's totally clear that there is something totally wrong, and many people will say these are druid stones and all these other things, but there's many of these sites in England, because people will say there's so many. So here is there's Boscawen. In fact, you could read this.
Boscawen is a Bronze Age stone circle close to St. Buryan in Cornwall, UK. It consists of 19 upright stones.
Raphael, I'm getting fed up here. Aren't you getting fed up with this? 19, isn't it depressing? Isn't this just totally depressing? You're looking for history and all you find is 19. How depressing is this?
I don't know, depressing, but yeah, it's getting old. What can I tell you?
It's depressing. The only history there is 19. Now, there's another thing that we have throughout England in many places. What they have is stone rows for directions and following things. And many people say they're along ley lines and other things. Like, for example, there is the stone rows in, Colvanic Tor, or in Cardinham Moor. Now, these stone rolls, many people will say, are very special. And what do you call it? So, Colvanic stone roll is one of the longest stone rolls, you know, in England. I'm not sure where its ranking is, but you could read this about Colvanic stone roll in Bodmin Moor in England. What do we know about this place?
The longest row on East Moor is 560 meters long. Here the intermittently placed 19 stones lead you between Fox Tor and a large hill.
What? You mean if I'm going to follow the path, you know, I'm going to follow the way, I have to go along how many stones?
19 stones.
How very convenient. I mean, the people who did this have gone a bit too far. So now in England, we have another thing what they call boundary markers or boundary stones. And for example, you know, there's the Emblands Downs and Lady Downs. You know, these are very famous boundary stones. You know, the Emblands Downs and what do you call it? So these boundary stones, you know, to show a boundary between one place and another. Let's say the Emblands Downs, they're pretty famous, and tourists go to examine them. You could read this. What do we know about the Emblands Downs in England for English or Celtic history?
There are 19 boundary stones.
What? No, come on. I thought it was supposed to be 19 direction stones or 19 stones in the circle, or it's 19 feet high or something.
No,
But
it's
how
19
many
boundary stones.
Are you sure? Let's take another check here.
Yes,
Yes. And what are these stones made of?
probably granite.
Yeah, it says it there. Yes. You see?
Yes,
So
extant granite post-medieval boundary stone.
yes. So now the thing is, when we go through Cornwall, Cornwall had one of the biggest granite mining things in the world in the 19th century. Yes. And for example, this was one of the there was other types of mining in Cornwall, also copper, for example. Yes, and so Consolidated Mines was a major company. Yes, and the mine was at times highly profitable and the largest single producer of copper ore in Cornwall. So this is an example of the history that we're looking at. Consolidated Mining Company, and let's just to get a clearer idea of this, you can see on the map this is not far in Cornwall, and what do you call it? Yes, the richest square mile in the world it was called because it had so much copper there, and it just made so much money. It was known as the, you know, like today they'll say this the richest square mile in Paris or Frankfurt or New York because it was just making so much money. You see,
All right.
and Consolidated Mines was yeah, and this is in Gwennap. Yes, Gwennap. Yes, remember the name. Yes, it sounds like a Welsh name, many people will say, but it's actually over there. And what's very important is to notice when the mining started. Yes, and the thing is, it mysteriously ended in the 19th century. Yes, and as I pointed out, the history of the 19th century is a lie. You will not understand this unless if you read my book. You know, Napoleon did not exist, but you could read. You could read through there and tell me what year did the mining start in that place.
In 1819.
Ah, at first it sounds like that's just a random number. Now that you know history better, yes, this was one of the most profitable, the richest square mile. It's one of the most important places, Gwennap, and so the mining started in 1819. But the entire history of the 19th century is a lie. This is in my book, Napoleon Did Not Exist. If you've not read it, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, it
Yes.
just reminds me of the silver prices up to 1933, which were suspiciously almost exactly $19 for the longest time. I've shown you that graph from American mining. I can also
Yeah,
show it
yes, you
here.
have.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's same with the oil price. Now that you've read the book, The New World Order, what do you know? Is the oil prices, is it all fake?
Well, it
What would
looks
you say?
completely virtualized. If anyone is trading it, it seems it's a, how should I say?
It-
It's
yeah,
not,
it's fake and it's controlled and
yeah,
planned by the
exactly,
people in
yes.
power. Yes. So now, this is very important. Many people don't know. So you could read this out.
Consolidated yielded almost 300,000 tons of copper between 1819 and 1840, which sold for over 2 million pounds. Gwennap, the Copper Kingdom,
Well, not this. I mean the next page.
it was the richest known mineralized area in the world. And the next page is copper ore is a resource that can be gathered from copper ore veins. Copper ore is only found within granite, and it's most abundant
Ah,
in the taiga biome.
now in that region, it's specifically many people didn't notice. If they check through the maps, many of these stones that we're showing are actually in the mining region. You see. So now when we check through the history of these mining companies, yes, like for example, there was a man called John Passmore Edwards. He lived in that region. He was a journalist and a philanthropist. He gave money to help others, etc. He provided money for 70 public buildings in that region. Yes, and things like this. This is what they're telling us in the 19th century. John Passmore Edwards. Yes. So let's imagine what history they're telling us, yes, in the 19th century about John Passmore Edwards. Yes, he was born in 1823, so he's there in the 19th century. Yes, this is what they're telling us. They'll show us their 19th century newspapers and printed books to verify this history. Now, what did this John Passmore Edwards say? He was a philanthropist helping society. What did he say?
In a speech, he stated that he was planning to open 19 institutions in Cornwall as there were 19 letters in his name. Now that's just great.
What crap. No, 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 sorry, it's history. It's great history. Ah. If people want to believe it, they can just believe this. Yes. But the stone circles, the way that they have them, yeah, and the way that they've left them in the countryside, many people are baffled. Who built them? Why? When? Everything. And most of them, yes, a majority of them, even if they have less than 19 circles, the historians are telling us there's supposed to be 19 in these places. Yes, you see? So, and the thing is, even the history of the entire local region, I went through it, it just sounds like a lot of garbage. No, I mean, it's very great, great lies. So now, for example, there's a very important tomb in Devon, yes, for Celtic history. So Childe's tomb, it's made of what type of material? Many of these Anglo-Saxon crosses and Celtic crosses are made from what?
It's a granite cross.
Found in the region where they're mining for
Copper.
granite itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
copper and granite,
Mm-hmm.
where they're mining granite. So many of these granite crosses are actually on mining territory. That's why when I told people that the history of Europe is a lie, it's because I went through these things. And when I examined them, it turned out to be a total joke. Now, this is very important. They call this Childe's tomb, and this is the cross on Dartmoor, a very important cross, and it's for a legend for Childe. Yes, Childe. It's very very important history. Yes, that the thing is, it's very important. It sounds very mythical. Yeah. So okay, you could read this about the famous Childe the Hunter. Yes, the Celtic or Gaelic stories or whatever they want to call it.
According to legend, the cross was erected over the kissed vein of Childe the Hunter, who was Ordulf, son of Ordgar, an Anglo-Saxon Earl of Devon in the 11th century. The name Childe is probably derived from the Old English word Childe, which was used as a title of honor.
Ah, so now they're saying a lot of these legends, we don't have the originals, a lot of it is guesswork, so they could say anything that they want. Yes, this Anglo-Saxon history. Yes, but so notice it's near Tavistock Abbey. Yes, where this Childe is buried. Remember Tavistock Abbey.
Well,
So now
Tavistock
there is this,
Institute, yes.
yeah. So notice the so this history you will find in the Doomsday Book. Many people have heard of the Doomsday Book in English history, but so you could read this about Childe's history.
According to Finberg, there was a man named Ordulf living in 1066 who, according to Domesday, here it says Domesday, was lord of 19 manors in Devon.
Lot of how many manors? Manors mean land holdings. How many
19.
land holdings?
19.
Ah, okay, I see. So the thing is, if we examine this properly, yes, and from the information given in the Anglo-Saxon chronicles and other things, in fact, you could read this. The contemporary records